Okay, so let's say you're gearing up for this bandsaw operator interview.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a job that really needs someone who is precise, has an eye for detail, and really knows how to use these powerful saws.
Right.
We're going deep into these RoleCatcher resources to give you everything you need to nail this interview.
Okay.
We've got career guides, sample interview questions, and even some insights into how AI is impacting the hiring game today.
Oh, wow.
Our mission is to give you the knowledge and strategies to not just answer those questions, but to really impress those interviewers.
I like it.
So before we get into the questions, let's talk about what a bandsaw operator actually does.
Okay.
I mean, we're talking more than just making cuts here, right?
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
It's a mix of technical skills and problem solving.
Okay.
You know, you're setting up the saw, adjusting the blades, making those cuts, which can be pretty complex sometimes, especially when you're dealing with irregular shapes.
Right.
And you always have to keep safety top of mind.
Of course.
And then there's troubleshooting.
Right.
Because machines can be unpredictable and you need to be ready to handle any glitches that come up.
So it's a role that demands both precision and being able to adapt.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, RoleCatcher has put together a bunch of common interview questions that you're likely to see.
Okay.
And we're going to break down the best ways to approach them.
Sounds good.
Are you ready to tackle the first one?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Hit me.
All right, here's a classic. Can you describe your experience operating a bandsaw?
Okay.
Now, this one might seem pretty straightforward, but it's a great chance to show off your skills.
Right.
What are some mistakes that you see people making when they answer this question?
The biggest mistake I see is people being too general. They'll just list job titles or say something like, I've been operating a bandsaw for X number of years. But you need to be more specific. Dive into the details.
Okay.
Talk about specific projects that really honed your skills, challenges you face, even times you just nailed a really difficult cut. Because remember, interviewers are looking for proof, not just claims.
So instead of saying, I'm experienced with bandsaws, you're saying, I once had to cut this incredibly intricate design for a custom furniture piece.
Right.
And here's how I approached it.
Exactly.
That kind of paints a more vivid picture, doesn't it?
It does. It brings your experience to life.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to get specific. Did you use a particular blade type?
Right.
Did you adjust the feed rate for a certain material? These details show how much you really know.
It's about showing, not just telling.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, what if they follow up with something like, can you tell me about a time you faced a challenge while using a bandsaw and how you overcame it?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Interviewers love that question because it tells them about your problem-solving skills.
Okay.
Think about a time when things didn't go as planned.
Right.
Maybe the blade broke or a material was tougher to cut than you expected.
Right.
Describe what happened, the steps you took to figure out the problem and the solution you came up with.
So it's not just about having faced challenges, it's about how you think critically and find those solutions.
Exactly.
Now, RoleCatcher's AI is pretty cool. It can analyze job descriptions and point out the skills employers are really looking for.
Yeah, the AI is a game changer.
Yeah.
It's like having a secret weapon.
So that could really help someone tailor their answers to what those employers are looking for, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
By analyzing job descriptions, the AI can pinpoint the keywords, skills, even the personality traits that are most important for that specific job.
Right.
This means you can focus on those aspects in your answers and make them more targeted and have more impact.
It's like having a secret decoder ring for job descriptions.
I like that. I like that.
Okay. Let's move on to another question I bet you see a lot. How do you ensure the accuracy and quality of your cuts?
Okay.
It seems like you're trying to understand your process with this question.
You're right. They want to see that you have a methodical way of doing things, that you understand how important precision is, and that you care about doing high-quality work.
Yeah.
So walk them through your process step by step.
Okay.
Talk about how you measure, mark, and double-check everything before you even make a cut.
Would you recommend mentioning any specific tools or techniques that you use to be more accurate?
Definitely. If you use a certain type of measuring tool, a guide fence or a special cutting technique, mention it.
Okay.
It shows you know what you're doing and you're going that extra mile for quality.
And what about those irregular shapes?
Ah, those are fun.
Yeah.
That's your chance to show off how adaptable you are and how good you are at problem solving.
Okay.
Talk about how you approach cutting those irregular shapes, what techniques you use, and any special tools or jigs you might need.
Okay.
You could even talk about a time you had to cut a particularly tough shape and how you managed to do it.
So it's about thinking outside the box and adjusting your techniques to meet those different challenges.
Yeah.
Now, before we move on, I wanted to touch on how RoleCatcher's AI can help you practice your answers.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just about analyzing those job descriptions, right?
Nope. RoleCatcher also has this incredible feature where you can actually practice answering these interview questions out loud.
Wow.
And their AI will listen to you and give you feedback.
Really?
On things like how clear you are, how concise you are, even your tone of voice.
That's amazing. It's like having a virtual interview coach right there in your pocket.
Exactly. It's like having a personal coach.
Okay, let's tackle another question. What safety precautions do you take when operating a bandsaw?
Okay.
This is a big one in this field, right?
Huge safety is absolutely paramount when you're working with powerful machinery like bandsaws.
Yeah.
Interviewers want to see more than just a list of safety gear.
Okay.
They want to know you understand why each precaution is important and that you put a safe work environment above everything else.
So it's not just about saying, I wear safety glasses. It's about explaining why eye protection is so important when you're using a bandsaw.
Exactly.
And how you personally make eye safety a priority in all of your work.
You got it. And don't just focus on the personal protective equipment.
Okay.
Talk about how you keep your work area clean and organized to prevent trips and falls.
Right.
How you check the machine before each use to make sure it's in good working order. And how you follow lockout, tagout procedures when you're doing any maintenance.
So you're demonstrating a full understanding of those safety rules.
Yeah.
And a commitment to making a safe place for yourself and everyone around you.
Absolutely.
And what kind of follow-up questions might they ask about safety?
They might ask something like, tell me about a time you noticed a potential safety hazard in the workplace. What did you do?
Okay.
This is your chance to show that you're proactive, that you don't just follow the rules, but you're actively looking out for potential dangers.
That's a great point. It's about showing that safety is just part of how you work.
Right. It's ingrained in you.
Not just something you think about when someone asks.
Exactly. And don't be shy about sharing a specific example.
Okay.
It could be something as simple as seeing a frayed power cord.
Right.
Or a spill on the floor.
Right.
And you took action to fix it right away.
So it's about walking the walk, not just talking the talk when it comes to safety.
I like that.
Now, before we get to more questions, let's talk about how RoleCatcher can help you personalize those answers.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the really cool things about RoleCatcher's AI is how it can tailor your answers to certain jobs.
Oh, yeah. It's pretty slick.
So, for example, let's say you're going for a job at a company that specializes in high-precision metal fabrication.
Okay.
RoleCatcher can analyze that company's job description and suggest ways to highlight your experience with those specific materials, tolerances, and cutting techniques.
That's powerful.
So it's about going beyond just giving a generic answer.
Right.
And really zeroing in on the skills and experience that really matter to that particular employer.
Exactly. You're showcasing what they need to see.
And it's more than just keywords. RoleCatcher can even recommend ways to structure your answers to include specific examples.
Wow.
And quantifiable results that match the company's values and goals.
It's like having a personalized career coach.
Yeah.
Right there in the app.
Okay, let's tackle another one that often pops up. How do you troubleshoot and resolve issues with a bandsaw?
All right, bring it on.
This seems geared toward how mechanically inclined you are.
It is. They want to know you can think critically, identify problems, and find solutions.
Okay.
So have a clear process in mind.
Right.
Do you start by checking the power source?
Right.
Do you inspect the blade for damage?
Right.
What steps do you take to diagnose the problem before you even try to fix it?
So instead of just saying, I try to fix it,
Right.
You're walking them through that thought process.
Yeah.
Showing them you have a logical and systematic way to approach troubleshooting.
Exactly. And if you've developed any specific troubleshooting techniques that work well, share those. Maybe you have a trick for spotting blade tension problems or a method for realigning guides that you've found really effective.
So it's about showing your expertise.
Yes.
And demonstrating that you're not just an operator, but a problem solver.
I like it.
Now, before we move on to the next question, let's talk about a mistake that people often make when answering those technical questions.
Okay, what is it?
Being too vague.
Yeah, that's a common one.
So instead of just saying, I check the machine, be specific. Say, I check the blade tension using a gauge.
Right.
Or I make sure the blade guides are properly aligned and lubricated.
Good example.
Details are really important here.
They paint a clearer picture for the interviewer.
Now, RoleCatcher actually has some interesting insights into the career path of a bandsaw operator.
Okay.
They talk about 3 key stages: entry-level, junior, and senior.
Uh-huh.
Can you give us a quick overview of how the responsibilities change as you move up through those stages?
Sure, entry level is all about learning the ropes, mastering the basics, and following directions. As you move up to junior, you'll have more independence, handle some basic troubleshooting, and even start coming up with ideas to improve processes.
Yeah.
And when you reach that senior bandsaw operator level, you're basically a bandsaw guru.
Wow.
You might be leading a team, setting standards for how things are done,
Right.
making sure everything runs smoothly, doing inspections, and even working with engineers and diviners to come up with ways to cut those really complicated shapes.
It's a pretty impressive path, and it shows that there's room for growth in this field.
Definitely. It's a field with a future.
Let's tackle another question that's designed to gauge your experience. Can you describe a difficult project or material you had to cut using a bandsaw?
Okay.
Seems like a chance to really make an impression.
It is. This is where you get to tell a story.
Okay.
Think about a project that really pushed your skills, a time when you had to get creative.
Yeah.
Did you have to cut an incredibly complex shape? Or work with a material that was tricky and kept warping?
Yeah.
Tell them about the challenge, what you did, and how it turned out.
So it's about showing how you can solve problems,
Yeah,
your attention to detail, and your ability to think on your feet.
exactly. And again, RoleCatcher's AI can help you tailor that story to highlight the skills that are most relevant to the job you're applying for.
So it's all about making your experience match their needs.
You got it.
Okay, let's move on to another one. How do you ensure that your work area is clean and organized?
Okay.
This might seem simple,
Yeah, it might seem basic.
but I bet there's more to it than meets the eye.
Oh, definitely. It's not just about being tidy.
Okay.
It shows you understand how important it is to have a clean and organized workspace.
Uh-huh.
It's about safety efficiency and quality control.
Okay.
So talk about how you keep your tools in their places, how you deal with scrap material, and what you do to keep things from getting cluttered.
So it's about showing you pay attention to detail, that you're organized and you understand how a clean workspace makes things safer and more productive.
Exactly. And don't hesitate to mention any specific techniques or habits you have to stay organized.
Okay.
Maybe you use a shadow board for your tools or have a designated area for scrap to keep it out of the way.
Those little details can really make your answer stand out.
They show you're serious about your work.
Right.
And that you care about maintaining a professional and efficient environment.
Before we get to the next question, I want to emphasize how RoleCatcher can help you practice those answers.
Yeah, that's a great feature.
And get personalized feedback. With RoleCatcher's platform, you can actually record your answers.
Wow.
And their AI will give you feedback on how clear you are, how concise you are, and how effective you are overall.
That's amazing.
It can even analyze things like your tone of voice and body language.
Wow.
So it's like having a personal interview coach right there, guiding you every step of the way.
Technology is incredible these days.
Now let's tackle another common question. How do you prioritize and manage your workload as a bandsaw operator?
Okay, time management. That's key.
Things can get pretty hectic in a busy manufacturing environment, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
This question is designed to assess your organizational skills, your time management abilities, and how well you can handle multiple things at once.
Okay.
Do you use a to-do list?
Uh-huh.
A scheduling app?
Right.
Maybe you prioritize tasks based on deadlines or how complicated they are.
Okay.
Share your strategies, and don't forget to mention how you adjust when unexpected challenges pop up or priorities change.
So you're not just a skilled operator,
Right.
but also someone who can plan and organize
Yeah.
and handle the demands of a fast-paced workplace.
Exactly. And if you've developed any specific systems or techniques for managing your workload, share those too.
Okay.
It could be as simple as color coding tasks or using a Kanban board to visualize your workflow.
Those details can really make a difference.
They show you're proactive and organized.
Let's move on to a question that sometimes throws people off. Can you describe your experience working in a team environment as a bandsaw operator?
Okay, teamwork.
I know some people dread teamwork questions,
Yeah, they can be tricky.
but they don't have to be scary.
Not at all. Remember, they're just looking for evidence that you can work well with others, communicate clearly, and contribute to a positive team dynamic.
Okay.
So think about specific examples of times you've collaborated successfully.
Yeah.
Maybe you had to work with colleagues on a big project, or maybe you had to solve a problem together as a team. Instead of just saying, I'm a team player, Give them concrete examples of your teamwork skills in action.
And you can highlight specific roles you played,
Yes.
the challenges you faced, and the positive outcomes you achieved through that collaboration.
Exactly. You're showing, not just telling.
It's about proving you can work effectively with others, communicate clearly, and create a positive and productive environment.
Absolutely. And if you have any experience mentoring or training other operators, mention that too.
Okay.
It shows leadership qualities and a willingness to share your knowledge.
Now, before we move on, I want to highlight how RoleCatcher can help you identify the specific teamwork skills that the employer really values.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
RoleCatcher's AI can analyze that job description and pinpoint those keywords and phrases that show how much they emphasize teamwork.
Okay.
It can even suggest specific examples from your experience that fit their definition of what a strong team player looks like.
It's like having a personalized guide for showcasing your teamwork skills.
Let's tackle another question. How do you stay up to date with new technologies and techniques in bandsaw operation?
Okay, keeping your skills sharp.
It's all about showing you're not content with just the way things are.
Exactly. The manufacturing industry is always changing, so you need to show that you're dedicated to staying ahead of the curve.
So do you read industry publications, attend workshops or conferences? Maybe you follow online forums or connect with people on LinkedIn to stay informed.
All great ways to stay current.
It's about showing you're proactive, curious, and dedicated to your professional development.
Yeah, always be learning.
And don't just list those sources of information.
Right.
Talk about specific technologies or techniques that you've learned recently and how you've used them in your work.
That's key. Showing you're not just passively taking in information, but actively using it to get better.
Before we wrap up this first part of our deep dive, I want to emphasize something RoleCatcher talks about a lot. Practice, practice, practice.
Couldn't agree more.
Practice makes perfect, especially for interviews.
Yeah, the more you practice, the better you'll get.
RoleCatcher has this platform where you can practice your answers and get AI-powered feedback.
That's so helpful.
It can help you figure out what to improve, work on your delivery, and boost your confidence.
It's like having a personal interview coach right there at your fingertips.
So use those tools and go into that interview feeling ready, confident, and prepared to show off your expertise.
You got this.
And remember, preparation is key.
Absolutely.
The more you practice, the more confident and comfortable you'll be when those questions come your way.
You'll be ready for anything. We've talked a lot about getting ready for the interview, like tackling those technical questions and showing, how to be safe and troubleshoot problems.
Yeah.
But let's switch gears for a minute and talk about what your career path could look like as a bandsaw operator.
Okay.
RoleCatcher has some really interesting information about how this role can change over time.
Yeah, we touched on those three stages, entry-level, junior, and senior.
Right.
But let's break those down a bit more. What are some of the things you'd actually be doing at each level?
At the entry level, you're really focusing on the fundamentals.
Okay.
You'll be working under close supervision, following all the safety rules and doing routine maintenance stuff like changing blades. It's all about building a solid base and proving you're reliable and can handle the job.
So it's about showing you can handle the basics and follow instructions.
Exactly.
What kind of skills or experience would you suggest someone highlights if they're interviewing for an entry-level position?
Definitely emphasize that you're willing to learn, that you're detail-oriented, and that you take safety seriously. If you've worked with tools or machinery before, even if it wasn't bandsaws, mention that too.
Okay.
It shows you have some mechanical aptitude and understand basic workshop safety.
So even if you're just starting out, you can still show them you have valuable skills and experience.
Absolutely.
Now, what about the junior stage? How do those responsibilities change?
As a junior bandsaw operator, you'll start to work more independently.
Okay.
You'll be expected to make adjustments to the cutting parameters to get the right results, troubleshoot minor problems, and even work with your colleagues to make the production process better.
So you're starting to think more critically and take on more responsibility.
Yeah, you're not just following instructions anymore. You're contributing your own ideas.
What kind of questions might they ask to see if you're ready for a junior level role?
They might ask you to describe a time you had to solve a problem on your own.
Okay.
Or how you would approach improving a certain process. They might also ask about your teamwork experience, since that becomes more important at this level.
And this is where RoleCatcher's AI can come in handy again to tailor your answers to those specific requirements.
For sure. It can really help you highlight those junior level skills.
Now, what about that senior level? What does a typical day look like for a senior bandsaw operator?
By the time you reach senior level, you're basically a bandsaw master.
Wow.
You might be in charge of a whole team of operators, making sure everyone's following the right procedures, figuring out how to make the cutting process as efficient as possible, doing regular maintenance and inspections, and even working with engineers and designers to come up with cutting strategies for those really complex shapes.
That's a lot of responsibility.
It is. It's a leadership role that requires a lot of knowledge and the ability to teach and guide others.
It sounds like a pretty rewarding position, though.
It can be very fulfilling.
What kind of questions do you think someone should be prepared for if they're interviewing for a senior level position?
They'll probably focus on your leadership experience, how you manage teams, how good you are at improving processes, and your track record of successfully completing this complex projects.
So be ready to share examples that show your leadership qualities, your problem-solving skills, and your ability to get things done.
Right. You'll want to see results.
Now let's get back to those interview questions and look at some that are more about your work habits and personality. We've covered the technical stuff, but they also want to know who you are as a person.
Right. Get a feel for you.
And how you'd fit into their team.
Yeah, that's important.
A question like, how do you make sure your work area is clean and organized? Seems pretty basic, but it actually tells them a lot about you.
It does. It shows your attention to detail, your work ethic, and how much you value safety.
It's about taking pride in your work and understanding that a clean and organized workspace is just essential.
Exactly. It prevents accidents and helps everything run smoothly.
What are some other questions that fall into this category?
Another common one is, how do you prioritize and manage your workload? They want to see that you can handle a lot of tasks, meet deadlines, and adjust when things change.
Right, because things can be pretty unpredictable sometimes.
Exactly. So do you have a system for staying organized? Do you use any specific tools or techniques for managing your time?
These are those key organizational and time management skills that everyone needs.
Especially in a busy manufacturing setting.
And don't be afraid to share examples of how you've successfully handled your workload in the past.
But give them concrete examples.
Maybe you have a way of prioritizing tasks or a method for keeping track of your progress on different projects.
Those details can really impress them.
Now, before we move on, let's talk about how RoleCatcher can help you research the company and the specific job you're applying for.
Oh, yeah. Research is key.
And RoleCatcher has a ton of resources to help you do just that.
It's like having your own research team.
Their platform gives you access to a huge database of company profiles, industry insights, even salary data.
Wow.
So you can really get a feel for the company's culture, values, and what they expect.
It's all about being prepared.
And that can give you a real edge over other candidates.
Absolutely. Knowledge is power.
Now let's talk about something really cool. RoleCatcher's AI can actually analyze your resume and cover letter.
Oh, wow.
To find areas that could be improved.
That's impressive.
It's amazing how technology can help job seekers these days.
It's a game changer.
RoleCatcher's AI can scan your documents, looking for keywords, formatting problems, even potential red flags that might make employers hesitate. It can even suggest specific improvements to make your application more compelling and tailored to that specific job.
It's like having a personal editor and career coach all in one.
But let's not forget about the human element.
Right.
No matter how advanced AI gets, nothing can replace being genuinely enthusiastic, communicating clearly, and having a positive attitude.
Could agree more. Authenticity is so important.
But AI can be a powerful tool to help you put your best foot forward.
It can help you shine.
So you've done your research, tailored your resume and cover letter, practiced your answers, and you're feeling confident. But what about those unexpected questions?
The curveballs.
Ones interviewers throw at you to see how you think on your feet?
Yeah, those can be tough.
Do you have any tips for handling those?
One thing I always suggest is to take a moment to think before you answer. It's perfectly fine to pause and say something like, "That's a great question. Let me think about that for a second." It shows you're thoughtful and composed even when you're under pressure.
That's a great tip. Much better than rambling or saying something you'll regret later.
Exactly. And remember, those unexpected questions are often meant to see how well you solve problems, how you think critically, and how you adapt to new situations. So even if you don't have the perfect answer right away, try to show them how you're thinking about it.
So show them you're willing to tackle the challenge.
Yeah, be a problem solver.
I like that. It's about showing you can learn and grow even when you're facing something new.
Exactly. Be adaptable.
Before we move on to our last segment, let's circle back to those career stages that RoleCatcher talks about.
Okay.
They're a good guide for professional development,
Uh-huh.
But it's important to remember that everyone's career path is different.
Very true. Those stages are just guidelines, not strict rules.
Like,
Your journey might take you in different directions. Maybe you'll take on different responsibilities or specialize in a certain area of bandsaw operation.
right.
You could even branch out into related fields like CNC machining or woodworking.
And RoleCatcher has resources for exploring those other career paths, too.
Yeah. They do. Their platform has a ton of information on all sorts of careers.
So you can research different options, compare the skills and responsibilities, and even discover connections between fields that seem totally different.
Exactly. It's all about finding the right fit for you.
It's not just about getting a job. It's about building a career you love.
A career that uses your talents and makes you happy.
And RoleCatcher can help you navigate those choices and find paths you might not have even thought of before.
It's like having a career GPS.
Before we wrap up this section, let's take a minute to appreciate the skill of bandsaw operation.
It's your craft.
It requires precision, attention to detail, and a deep understanding of the materials and the machinery.
It's a mix of technical expertise, artistic sense, and a commitment to safety.
And while technology is always changing, those basic principles of bandsaw operations stay the same.
They're timeless.
It's a valuable skill set for anyone who wants to work in manufacturing.
It's a field with a lot of opportunity.
It's a career path that offers a great mix of challenges, rewards, and opportunities to grow.
I couldn't agree more.
And with the right preparation guidance and a little help from RoleCatcher's AI, you can go after your dreams in this field with confidence.
Go for it.
So we've covered a lot in this deep dive about getting ready for that bandsaw operator interview and what the career path looks like.
Yeah, we've been through a lot.
But before we finish up, I want to look ahead a bit.
Okay, to the future.
RoleCatcher talks about how technology is changing things in manufacturing.
Right, it's a fast-moving field.
So what does all this mean for the future of bandsaw operation?
That's a great question, and it's something anyone who wants this job should be thinking about. One of the biggest trends is automation.
Okay, robots.
We're seeing more and more computer numerical control, CNC,
Yeah?
being used in bandsaw operation.
So those really intricate cuts and weird shapes we talked about,
Right.
they're going to get even more complex and precise.
Exactly. CNC bandsaws can be incredibly accurate, and they can do the same thing over and over again perfectly,
Wow.
which makes things faster and uses less material.
That makes sense.
But this also means that operators need to adapt.
Okay.
They need to know how to use computer interfaces, understand basic programming, and be able to troubleshoot any problems that come up.
So it's not just about those hands-on skills anymore.
Right.
You need those digital skills too.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to keep learning.
Okay.
Whether you're taking online courses, going to workshops, or just reading industry magazines, bandsaw operators have to stay ahead of the game.
It's all about showing those potential employers that you're ready to learn and adapt to all these new technologies.
Absolutely. You got to have that growth mindset.
Now, speaking of new technology, what about robotics?
Oh, robotics are going to be huge.
Okay.
We're already seeing robotic arms loading and unloading materials, helping with cutting, even doing inspections.
So robots aren't replacing human operators.
Not at all.
It's more about working together.
Right, a team effort.
To be more efficient and precise.
Exactly. And that means operators need a new set of skills.
Okay, like what?
They'll need to know how to program robots, how to work safely with them, and how to fix any problems.
So it's really interesting to see how technology is changing the whole manufacturing world.
It is. It's exciting.
And creating all these new opportunities for people with the right skills.
Like bandsaw operators.
So if you're getting ready for that interview, think about how all these advancements are going to affect the job and the whole industry.
It's worth thinking about.
When you walk into that interview, show them your skills and experience, of course, but also that you're adaptable.
Right.
Willing to learn and excited about the future of manufacturing.
And don't be afraid to ask questions about how the company is using new technologies.
Okay.
It shows you're thinking ahead and you want to be part of their progress.
That's a great point. Being curious and wanting to learn are always good things.
Absolutely.
So be prepared to show them your passion for the work,
right,
your commitment to safety, and that you're ready to embrace the future of bandsaw operation.
And remember, RoleCatcher is there to help you every step of the way.
Yeah, they're a great resource.
From fixing up your resume and cover letter to practicing your answers and getting that feedback from their AI.
It's like having a personal career coach and a whole team of experts rooting for you.
It's a great feeling.
So go out there, be confident.
Be yourself.
Be prepared, and show them what you can do.
You got this.
That's all for our deep dive into bandsaw operator interviews. We hope you found this helpful.
Thanks for listening.
Remember, with the right preparation and a little help from RoleCatcher, you can ace that interview and start a great career in this exciting field.
Best of luck.
Good luck and happy cutting.